least this boy is Indian.
Where are you going?
Naveen, you should be with your family. You didn't tell them about me.
How do you expect us to react? Go off to live your own life. We don't know anything about you or your relationships, nothing.
The big wedding party with all of the people we love. I want the same thing with you.
My only gay son is getting married?
I think a lot of people are a little embarrassed by the bigness of love.
It's a pleasure to welcome Karan Soni to Showbiz India.
I'm excited to be here.
How did you feel when you first read the script?
Originally, they were interestingly trying to make it a TV show. So Madhuri Shekhar, who wrote the play, sold the rights for the play to be a TV show. And that's when I first read it in 2018, because Paul Feig, a big Hollywood writer, director, producer, had reached out to me, his company, and they were trying to sell it as a TV show at the time. So I read the play and I loved it. I thought it was so fun. And the conceit of it was so fun, which is that the nice Indian boy in the movie is a white guy in a weird way. So my character ends up meeting this kind of perfect white guy who's more in touch with Indian culture than he is. And he brings him home to his family and they all have to sort of like accept him and win them over before the wedding. It didn't sell at the time as a TV show in 2018. And then I kind of forgot about it. Like in Hollywood, many times you just kind of have to move on. In 2021, I believe, Roshan, the director, and my partner ended up getting an email saying they are thinking of making it into a movie and that there was a script and that they were interested in him directing it and me starring in it. And then I read it again as a script and I thought it was so beautifully adapted.
It's portrait day. Ooh. The photographer is hot.
I've got an extra ticket to a film screening if you want to join me.
I'll check my calendar, but yes, I think I'll be, which movie?
What did you bring to the table personally, you think, from cultural nuances to perhaps maybe even a little bit of your own story?
Yeah, so Roshan and I, when we got that script in 2021, we really loved the script, but we felt like there were things that we could add to it that would make it even more specific to our life and our experience. We ended up telling the producers we'd love to work on the script a little bit. So one of the things that we added, a lot of little nuances from our own lives, but the character originally was not a doctor. In the script, he worked at a tech company, and Roshan is a doctor, and he came out later in life, and he talks a lot about how in medicine, it's easy to sort of disappear behind the white coat because people don't really need to know about their doctor's personal lives. And in a way, you're in a profession that's so respected in our community that then no one is asking all these other nosy questions like about your dating life. And all of that felt really rich to the character, where in a way that my character has sort of checked all the boxes and done these things that can make his family proud, because he has this shame that, like, you know, he's kind of not making them maybe have the future they thought they would have with him. The thing that we both connected with and loved about the script and the play was that it's not a coming out story. The character's already out at the beginning of the movie, but it's the next stage in that evolution, which is the other step, which is bringing someone home to meet your family and having your family accept them in a big public way, which in our culture is often in the form of a wedding. And we both felt like there were so many universal themes there, not just if you're gay, but if you're straight, anything, because I have so many friends who their parents don't know who they're dating because it doesn't match up with what the parents want, and their children have a whole life outside that their parents don't know about, and the cultural expectations of what is expected from you, from your family, and who you really are, and that journey of the parents accepting the child that they have versus the one they thought they were going to have. All of those themes felt like very rich in my life and felt like if we made something like this, it would be universal, which I think it has been.
Tell me how you feel.
I'm adopted. I was raised by Indian parents. Theirs was the first home where I felt like I belonged.
Baby, let me see it.
My parents are super liberal, just don't bring up drinking or sex.
As a South Asian myself, and obviously in our culture still, it is hard to come out for a lot of young men and women out there. What would you say to them on a personal level, and what would you like to say to the parents?
Yeah, that's such a wonderful question. Yeah, it was interesting because at a certain point, honestly, when we were making this movie, we did have this question of like, is this movie dated? Like, you see Gen Z and younger generations and they feel much more comfortable in their skin, at least in America. And we were just like, I wonder if this story is even, but then the amount of messages we've gotten since the movie has been out, honestly, since the trailer came out, of people being like, I'm gonna come out to my family now, I'm gonna take them to the movie and come out. So it still feels like, unfortunately, a very real thing. So I'm glad the movie exists. So I think what I would say is what a therapist said to me initially. I came out when I was 19 and my parents did not take it well in the beginning. And it was very hurtful for me because obviously to not be accepted by your parents is a deep kind of hurt. But this therapist said to me, you've known you were gay since you were 14 and it's taken you 5 years to say the words out loud. But they were like, they've known you since you were a baby and they've projected onto you all these feelings about your future and what your life will be like. You at least owe them the same amount of time. So give them the same amount of time you gave yourself, give in this case 5 years. And in those next 5 years, they're allowed to ask offensive questions. You can't get upset. You have to be very patient. You can't get angry. You have to be calm and loving and help them understand things that they might not know. And at the end of the 5 years, if they're still not at this place that you want them to be, then you can start being rude to them. You can start being like whatever. And it really helped me at the time because when I was sort of coming out, I was like, I just want to be accepted when I see these words. And for them to not do it right away felt really hurtful. But then I was like, oh, I didn't accept myself right away. It took me like all this time to like be comfortable with it myself. So I owe them the same amount of time at least. And luckily in my case, it only lasted about a few more months after that where they were feeling like not sure about it all. But that I find very helpful. And then to parents, I would just say, even if you don't understand it and you're scared, it's understandable to be scared, but don't forget that they need love, even in that moment. So even if you aren't fully accepting them and you're scared, you're allowed to say you're scared, but never stop telling them that you love them because they need to hear that more than ever in those few moments when they're saying that to you.
Tell me, was there any special behind the scenes anecdotes of this film you could share?
Oh my gosh, there were so many. It was always in the script that DDLJ would be part of the movie, and it was so important to us because growing up in India, I only grew up watching Bollywood love stories, and you never see yourself in those movies. And those are the movies everyone celebrates, and pop culture is based around of, but it's always about the heterosexual couples. So it felt really special in this movie to be like, oh, we can recreate this image for a modern generation with two men in it, and DDLJ is reflected in the wedding ceremony and all these things. But then we didn't know if we would get the rights. And then one of our producers, Charlie McSpadden, knew someone who worked at Yash Raj Films, got Roshan to write a letter to Aditya Chopra explaining how important the movie was to us. And then he gave us the rights. And then the other really fun thing was the dance at the end. We rehearsed on the weekends for that one, and that was all really fun because what was really fun about it was that we were doing a full song and dance performance for Jonathan Groff, who's a huge Tony winning Broadway star, but he wasn't actually dancing, but all of us not trained dancers were dancing for him. And that day of filming all of that with all the extras, that was like really fun.
Fans just loved you as Dupinder in Deadpool. For those fans out there, can you share a story behind the scenes, maybe with Ryan Reynolds?
I auditioned for the first movie in 2015, and it was all very secretive. So I didn't know what it was for Deadpool or anything. I think I knew that Ryan was in the movie, but I didn't even know it was a superhero movie or anything. And then months went by, and then I got a call saying that they had cast me in the movie. And I never got to meet Ryan anything until we started filming. So I literally landed in Vancouver a day before my first day, showed up, got in the car, Ryan introduced himself, and then we started shooting. And it was very crazy because at that moment it's like either this is gonna work or it's not gonna work. And people get asked about chemistry all the time, and like it's not something you can manufacture. It's like either it's there or it's not there. And sometimes on these bigger movies you do a chemistry audition or something. Nothing like that happened on this. That's my first memory. It's just like I thought there would be like a dinner or something where I would get to meet him before. I met him in his superhero suit and we started shooting, and it was very fast.
Lots of good stuff. Well, thank you so much, Karan, for all your time.
Thank you.
You ready?